This week had been just like the others. Every evening, Balik was waiting for Magda at the farm. They would spend the free half an hour before the tavern together, cuddling and kissing. Magda couldn't skip the tavern every evening, but sometimes they would spend the night together after her work. Balik never brought the topic of her being pregnant back. He needed time, and Magda could understand that. It was hard, but the week was almost over. Soon she would have an answer. At first, she was dying to know the answer. But the more time passed, the more she was afraid. What if the answer wasn't the one that she wanted? What if he chose his duty over her, over their child? And what if he chose to desert? To stay? That would make him a criminal. Would they really be able to hide him? She was having a hard time with the nausea and tiredness, and all of these questions bustling in her head were not helping. One day, she even fainted at the farm. The scribes reluctantly allowed her to go home for the day. Balik was taking care of her, but whenever she began to feel nauseated, he'd become silent. Maybe he hadn't made up his mind yet, or maybe he had but didn't want to tell her. Magda couldn't decide which one was worse. Today was Sunday. The Sunday afternoon was her only free time in the week. On the morning, she had to go to the farm to feed the cattle, but the afternoon was free. The summer was coming to an end, but this day was still sunny and warm. She couldn't wait to see Balik. They spent almost every evening together, but Sundays were always privileged moments, perfect for long strolls along the fields. Magda loved the feel of the breeze caressing her body, the sun heating up her bare skin, the feeling of freedom. But today was also Magda's birthday, and Balik had promised her a surprise. What would it be? He said he would pick her up at 1 o'clock. They let her enough time to eat and take a short shower to remove the filth of the farm. After drying her hair, she put on a white sundress. It was simple, without any pattern or ornament, but was one of her prettiest clothing. She had inherited it from Emily, who had outgrown it, and took care of it, so it was still white and not gray like her other previously white clothing. At 1 o'clock, a honk made her startle. She went outside and Balik was waiting for her, leaning against the Jeep displaying the Aquila symbol on the bonnet, as well as symbols of the Administratum and the Departamento Munitorum on the wings. Wow, is this your car? Magda asked, impressed. Don't be ridiculous, Balik chuckled. I'm a guard. I don't have a car. I borrowed it. He kissed her, putting a lock of hair back behind her ear. The feeling Magda felt in her stomach had nothing to do with nausea. You're cute today. Nice dress. Thanks, she said. It was Emily's, but she outgrew it. Ew, great. Now I have the impression of kissing your sister, he replied with a grimace. Oh, I can change if you want, she answered, disappointed. Balik burst out laughing. I was joking. It's a pretty dress, but you're even more pretty. He kissed her. So, you want to ride? Yes, she answered happily, making Balik smile. He opened the passenger door and bowed. Madam, he said. Magda laughed as she went in the car. So, where are we going? She asked. It's a surprise, you'll see, he said in his low voice, smiling mysteriously. The trip lasted more than an hour, but it seemed very short. They spent the time talking and joking. Balik drove fast. He seemed to be used to driving. Not mentioning the tractor she had once been in, it was the first time Magda was in a car. She wondered if he had learnt to drive in his hive or in the guard. She was impressed. He had certainly learned a lot of things in his life, been to a lot of places. To Magda, who had never left her little town, the idea of the dark, handsome stranger was exciting. She bit her lip. Balik noticed it and smiled crookedly. After a while, the landscape began to change. The fields finally ended somewhere, Magda thought. The road now widened through countless sand dunes. Soon, Magda was able to see it, the never-ending blue water stretching in front of them, giving a salty smell to the wind. "The sea," she exclaimed. "Uh-huh. I'd never seen the sea before," she said. "I know. Happy birthday," he grinned. "Are you happy?" "Oh yes, thank you so much," she said, ecstatic. She jumped on him to kiss him. "Hey, careful, I'm driving," he laughed. He parked near a little bay sheltered from the wind, and Magda ran out of the car laughing. The sand was white and fine. She took off her shoes. The sand was nice and hot, slipping between her toes. Balik followed her with a bag. "I brought some towels for a picnic," he said. Magda jumped into his arms and kissed him. "Thank you so much," she said. Balik caressed her cheek. "I'm glad you like it. I don't have a lot of money, you know, so I couldn't buy you anything." "It's better than any gift," she assured him. "I've always wondered how it looked, the sea. It's more beautiful than I imagined." "Want to see it closer?" he said with a smile. He started taking off his uniform, but Magda was embarrassed. I don't know how to swim," she confessed. "It's okay," he said. "I'll teach you. It's easy. You'll see." With these words, he ran into the water, laughing out loud. Magda followed him, but stopped when her ankles touched the water. It was crystal blue and not very deep. Balik was already yards away, but probably still able to touch the bottom. But Magda couldn't go further. The blue continued as far as she could see. She couldn't even distinguish the horizon between the sea and the sky. She didn't want to admit it, but she was a little afraid. "Come on, girlie," Balik shouted, coming back towards her. "Take off your dress, the water's good." She took off her dress and threw it on the sand, but didn't move. She plunged her hands in the water. It felt good. Cool, but not cold. Balik suddenly grabbed her hands and pulled her in the water, laughing. Magda shouted and flailed as Balik was bringing her further from the beach, but soon she was laughing with him. He was carrying her so her head was always outside of the water. "So, doesn't it feel good?" he laughed. "Yeah," she answered cheerfully. It did feel good. Her body was floating, swinging in the small waves. It was like she was weightless in the water. She was waving her arms and legs, but it was Balik who kept her afloat. The water was too deep for her, but Balik could still touch the bottom. She wasn't afraid anymore. She felt perfectly safe with him, happy. She couldn't stop laughing. "Don't move your arms like a dog. You have to do something more like a frog. Look," he showed her. "Like what?" she asked, reproducing the movement. "Yeah, that's it. Now do the same thing with the legs," he said. "You see, it's not that hard." "Yes, but you're holding me, so it's easy." "Let's go somewhere in the water that's less deep so you can practice," he replied, pushing her closer to the beach. Where the water was shallower and Magda could touch the bottom, Balik let her go. At first, it was hard because she had difficulties coordinating her arms and legs, but after a while, she could swim alone. Balik was never far, though. "You learn fast," he said with a smile. "You're a good teacher," she giggled. "When did you learn to swim?" "When I was 19. My regiment was stationed on a forest world. My hill taught me to swim in a pond." "I'm impressed," she answered. "You can drive, you can swim. I bet you know all kinds of things." "You have no idea of the extent of my power," he said, teasing. Magda laughed and splashed him, starting a water fight. They spent the afternoon in the water, fighting like children and racing. Balik was definitely faster, but sometimes he let her win. When Magda was tired, he took her on his back, her arms around his muscled neck, and continued swimming. When he too was tired, they went back to the beach. Magda's body felt heavy after spending so much time in the water, but she was happy. They dried off with the towels that Balik had brought, and he wiped her hair dry. The day was darkening now, and the weather was cooler, so they put on their clothes. Magda's dress was light, so Balik gave her his jacket. Then they placed a blanket on the sand and arranged their picnic. There were various salads, slices of cold roast beef, and raspberry desserts. Wow, you prepared all of this? Magda asked, impressed. Well, your sister helped me. I bought the products and she cooked. That's her gift for your birthday, he explained. Oh, how nice of her, she answered with a smile. I'll thank her tomorrow. The food was good, and the atmosphere romantic. The sunset was giving beautiful colors to the sky and the sea. Balik took Magda in his arms while they finished their dessert. She wanted this moment to last forever, being in the arms of her man, peacefully, watching the sunset. Today had been the best day of her life. I have another gift for you, Balik said, searching his bag. Close your eyes. Another gift, she asked, closing her eyes. Uh-huh. Don't move. He put something around her neck. Happy birthday. Magda opened her eyes and looked at the necklace. The pendant was made of bits of polished metal shaped into a heart. In the center was a brownish, translucent stone. Oh, it's so beautiful, she explained, joyful. Thank you so much. You shouldn't have. Don't worry, I didn't buy it. I made it myself. He seemed embarrassed. Really? That's great. You're an artist, she said. Well, I had to find something to do while you were at the farm. What kind of stone is this? She asked. It's not a stone. It's amber, he explained. I found it once in a campaign. I found it pretty, so I kept it. But I thought it'd look even prettier on you. Thank you. She felt the tears coming to her eyes. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever been given. Marry me, Balik said suddenly. Magda froze, shocked. Maybe she had misheard. What? She asked, troubled. Marry me, he said again. Be my wife. I love you, and I can't live without you. But, he started. What happened? It was the first time he said that he loved her. Was he really proposing? The other day, you asked me if I would stay with you or not. Here's your answer. I can't stay here with you. If you do marry me, we can go on the spaceship. We can live together. Please say yes. Stay with me, he begged. On the spaceship? Magda didn't know what to say. She was taken aback. She had never even thought of the possibility. She didn't even know it was a possibility. Yes, there's a lot of people in the ship. Soldiers with families are allowed to bring them. You could find a job in the Munitorum. I don't know, in the kitchens maybe? When I'm not on campaign, we'd live together. We could raise our children together. Isn't that what you wanted? Yes, but I never thought about that. He was confused. I have my family here, Emily, Annalise, and my father. He doesn't even know you exist. He would never agree with that. And then he doesn't have to know. Or you can tell him the truth, and maybe he'll understand. I don't know, and there's the tavern. I can't leave like that, she argued. I'm sure they'll survive without you. It's the only way. I want to live with you and our child, but I can't desert. If you come with me, we can be together and I won't have to be a traitor. Yeah, maybe, Magda said. But was it really the only way? She felt a tear rolling down her cheek. We'll be together. We'll have our own space. I'm not rich, but if you work too, we could rent a larger place and live with our children. We'll be happy together. Think of it. Our child will need his father. You said it yourself, and I'll need him or her. And I need you. Magda watched her necklace. Next to it was the dog tag Balik had given her last week. Yes, she did love him. She wanted to be with him. She wanted to live with him. She wanted to raise her children with him. But she would have to leave her family. Was she ready to do that? 2 months ago, her family was everything to her. But now, everything had changed. She had to think about her child, the life that she was carrying, what was best for her baby. He or she couldn't live without knowing their father. Is it the only way? She asked, crying. Yes, it's the only way. Believe me, there's no other way. He sighed and ran his hand through his dark hair. Then he put a knee in the sand and took Magda's hands. Magda, he said, formally in his strange accent. I love you, ever since I first laid my eyes on you. When I got to know you more, I knew I was in love and I wanted to be with you. You're everything to me. I was just a soldier going from world to world, biding my time. And now I have a reason to live, a cause to fight for. My life has a reason now, thanks to you. We've known each other only for 2 months, but it's enough to know that I want to be with you forever, to form a family with you and to grow old with you. Will you marry me? She watched his beautiful eyes, tears in hers. Balik's deep blue eyes were anxious. A fiancé, a husband. She had never even dreamt of such things. But Balik could be it. But Balik could be that. He could be a loving husband. He could be a caring father. He could be her family. He could be everything. She thought her voice would stay stuck in her throat. She thought her heart was going to explode when she said it. Yes. Hey there, thanks for listening. I really liked making this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If you did, please consider liking the video. It helps the channel out a lot, so thank you. More chapters will be coming soon. Alright, good night everyone.